Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the Women's Eye podcast. I am your host, Stacey Gualandi. Now, we like to shine a light on extraordinary women making a difference, like my guest, director Rachel Feldman, and the subject of her new film, equal pay activist and trailblazer Lilly Ledbetter. Hi, Rachel. I saw it. I loved it. I'm so
Thank
happy to have
you.
you here.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks so much.
Yeah, well, and this is a film that's getting a lot of buzz right now, and I can't wait to learn more about you, Rachel, and the making of Lilly. But first, this episode is brought to you by Casco Financial Group in Phoenix. Casco's president, Catherine Scrivano, started her business to help people create the financial strength to achieve their dreams. And speaking of dreams, May 9th, writer-director Rachel Feldman released her dream project, Lilly, a film odyssey that began like 9 years ago, I think. This is a full circle moment because in 2012, I interviewed Lilly Ledbetter, who's the champion of equal pay for equal work, right here on The Women's Eye. And I am absolutely thrilled to have you here, Rachel, to share both your story and Lilly's. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it is a full circle moment, and it has taken a while to get the movie made and out. And I couldn't be a better moment in the world for the film to be released right now.
I know. I feel like some things just happen in a certain space and for a certain reason. And yeah, right now seems to be like the perfect time for this movie. Why do you say that though, in terms of for I guess for those who don't know who Lilly Ledbetter is, like shame, but why is she so important and why is this such a good time for this film to come out?
Well, throughout the process of making the film, people would say to me, "Oh, now is the perfect moment for this movie." And with each change of our administration, with each new president, with each new government, people would say it again, "Oh, this is the perfect moment. No, this is the perfect moment." And I just feel like, no, really, this is the perfect moment for this movie. And I think it's because, no matter where you might fall in the political spectrum, there's always fair pay is not a partisan issue, and gender equity should not be a partisan issue. And this is a movie that engenders hope and inspiration, and it talks about how one ordinary person can do an extraordinary thing, and that every single one of us needs to stand up for justice in every part of our life. So I think that's why it's really important right now.
Absolutely. And you're the woman who was all over this. So I guess the thing too with Lilly is, here she was, this woman who worked for Goodyear for 20 years or almost 20 years, and she was getting paid like half of what her counterparts or colleagues were making. So this case went to the Supreme Court. It became the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act in what 2009. And so this was an unlikely thing for a woman like her, right?
Yeah, an Alabama grandma is what she called herself. She was an Alabama grandma. And, although she grew up in poverty, she grew up without electricity or running water, but she always had a very strong sense of herself. She was a ballroom dancer. She was a cheerleader. She was good in math. She was good in sports. She had a very strong sense of herself. And she wanted to work in the Goodyear tire factory because it was the best paycheck she could get in her county. She was the only woman who worked on the floor for many, many years, and she took a lot of abuse, and she was willing to take it because of that paycheck, because she wanted to raise her children out of poverty into the middle class. That was very important to her. So when she found out that she was being paid unfairly, that it was hitting her in the pocketbook, that was the moment that she decided she couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, for her, a woman like this that never in a million years, in fact, she told me when we interviewed her that, she's became this role model. She became sort of a spokesperson for this whole equal pay movement. She spoke at the Democratic National Convention, but she said she never would have thought that she would have been a role model, and that she certainly didn't plan to have her name on a lawsuit that would go all the way to the Supreme Court, and especially on a bill, and then onto the White House and into the history books. So I know you spoke with her, and she passed away sadly in October. And I so wish it would be great to have the two of you here. But um, that obviously, I guess, did she express that to you as well when you first, in all these years that you were working with her on this film?
Well, first of all, it's very sad that she's not here with us now that this movie is opening. And having a movie celebrating her legacy was very important to Lily. Lily was a movie lover. And she really was. Even as a child in poverty, she said she and her father would collect their nickels and, go to the double feature and see Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers movies.
Oh,
She really understood the impact of cinema and that when you affect people in their heart, that you can affect their head. And she, when I first reached out to her, I said, I'm not a documentarian. I'm going to tell a story about a woman. It's going to be played by an actor. And we're so lucky to get Patricia Clarkson to play her. And she understood that. And she said, yeah, I think when you entertain people, that's really when they understand the issue. So she was the thing that was interesting to me, and the reason why I wanted to make a movie about Lily was exactly what you just said a moment ago. It's not, I didn't want to make a movie that was political. I didn't want to make a movie that was about fair pay. I wanted to make a movie about a woman who decided to be the face and the voice of an issue and put a target on her back. What is the personal cost of doing that? That takes an exceptional grit in order to do that. And not every person can handle that kind of exposure. But it was so important to her that she said, I'm willing to be the face and I'm willing to be the voice and I'm willing to take the heat and I'm willing to have this impact my family in such a significant way because it's so important and I don't want this to happen to anyone else. And she did that even after she knew she would not benefit by $1.
that's the crazy thing is she won the lawsuit, right? And but has never received a dime. I mean, and which leads me to your movie because I know, just learning about you. I mean, this is not your first rodeo. You have been writing, directing for a long time, but also this is, I think, kind of your first big feature.
It is my first feature film. I have been working as a television director for 3 decades. This is my first
Yeah, we'll
feature.
have to talk about The Rookie. I know of some people that worked.
Okay.
But yeah, so this is your first foray into something of this big. And obviously, if this wasn't a real woman, this would be a really great movie character. No, I mean, you couldn't invent somebody like Lily. But
Well,
for
they did.
you,
She's called Wonder Woman.
oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, this is your superhero pick as well.
Absolutely, yes.
But for you, I know that you've expressed in the past that you like to bring people on this emotional experience. So when I watched the film, I was like happy, and then I was sad, and then I was super angry. Why? Why did I have that reaction? Maybe it's obvious, but yeah, because you really did take us through the
Well,
all the
that's
emotions.
that's what a movie should be. I mean, it's kind of a cliche, but I said that I wanted to make a movie that was a roller coaster ride of suspense, heartbreak, and euphoria.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the movie delivers. Lily led a very emotional life. And that's what entertainment should be. That's what a movie should be. And when I met her, I love movies like Coal Miner's Daughter. That was really a touchstone for me, or Norma Ray or Erin Brockovich. And there
Yep.
haven't been these kinds of movies lately. And I wanted to bring one into the modern age. So
Yeah.
Lily just
Silkwood
became
was like one of my favorite movies. It's
so
these
good.
women, these, up from the bootstraps kind of women. I mean, that's why I really took to this film too, because I love that genre.
Yeah, yeah, North Country. And
Yeah.
so I just thought she was a perfect character to embody that kind of journey and to represent a story about a woman who is activated, who discovers she's an aggrieved worker. She's treated so poorly in so many ways, but she finds herself. It's a transformational story. And that's the story that I wanted to tell, how she finds her voice and discovers her purpose.
I definitely want to touch on that a little bit later about how, how much of a difference has she made, and have we, how far have we come, that kind of thing too. But for me, what would you say as a filmmaker, writer, creative, what is your belief, your philosophy? Is it primarily about, that idea of fighting for justice or seeing justice done? Is that kind of your motivation, would you say? Or
I love classic stories. I love, I'm very affected by the movies of my mother's generation. My mother turned me on to the movies of the 1930s and 40s, the golden age.
yeah.
So I love a classic structure. I love a first act and a second act that breaks into act two A and two B and three and, the third act. And so I do love that sort of classic structure. But how I like to modernize the behaviors is with modern, quirky characters who break convention. So it's not so, for me as a filmmaker, I want to challenge convention, and I want to challenge convention in terms of behavior and how we relate to one another, and to focus on kindness and lifting each other up, no matter what kind of genre I work in.
Yeah. Now Lily could have given up at any point. She could have quit that job, but she stayed in it because, there was sexual harassment. There was, obviously the gender discrimination. I mean, all of it. But also you could have given up on making this film at any point too. Because I mentioned earlier, I think, was it 9 years? Is that roughly the
It's
more or
it's a
less?
lot. It's a lot of years. It's many years, but I couldn't give up because I promised Lily that I would get this film made. And that promise kept me going. And every time I communicated with Lily, which I did quite often, she was on the ride with me from the very beginning. Um, she would always end her notes to me, I have faith. I have faith in you. I have faith in you. And, when she gave me the rights to her book, her beautiful book, Grace and Grit, which I hope everyone will read, which was
Great
written
book.
by Amir Isom, I promised her, there were a lot of other people chasing her rights at that time, big studios and big networks and people who had a lot of money, a lot of power. And I did not. And I was very honest with her. And I said, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of power. I don't have a lot of clout in Hollywood. But what I have is determination to get this movie made. And I promised her that I will, eat and sleep until this movie gets made. So whenever I hit a road bump, I would call her and I would say, look, I hit an obstacle, but I'm going to figure my way out of it. And she said, I have faith in you. And, I would always take a day or two to feel sorry for myself and then lift myself back up again and say, I have to do this for Lily. So yeah, I had to.
Well, and to me, you're both sort of two peas in a pod because you're both very tenacious, but also you overcame any kind of a fear to just keep moving forward for that end goal. How do
Well,
you think? Yeah.
women directors have had it hard in Hollywood, and I had my own share of gender discrimination, which was one of the reasons why I was activated and interested in telling this story, from an employment story about women. Certainly, women directors in Hollywood, our form of discrimination is more one of exclusion than fair pay. Yes, we don't get our fair pay because we don't get the opportunity, you know. But it's the same story, whether you're a Hollywood filmmaker or you're an Alabama tire factory, gender discrimination is the same all over the world. And so, my own experiences enabled me to really get behind and understand what she must have felt and to put myself in her shoes. And I felt like I was the right filmmaker to tell her story.
Yeah, I mean, and what a victory. You mentioned Patricia Clarkson. She plays Lilly Ledbetter. I love Patricia. She's a phenomenal actress. And this was such, maybe, I don't know if it's accurate to say this was a departure for her, but she has been fully out there talking about how she really embraced Lilly Ledbetter, wanted to become her. So that was a great victory for you, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, to have Patricia Clarkson star in this film and take on Lilly Ledbetter the way that she did is such a gift. And she's a phenomenal actor, a beautiful human being, and a political person. She grew up in a family. Her mother, Jackie Clarkson, was a prominent councilwoman who ran the city of New Orleans for many, many
Yeah,
years.
and I didn't know that. Yeah.
Worked very hard for women and girls in particular, and she's one of five daughters. So, playing Lily was very, very important to her.
Now, in terms of the challenges that you faced in making this, do you feel like you're that much stronger now as a filmmaker? I don't know if you, yeah, how difficult was it to make this movie?
You know, directing is directing, and I've been directing big budget television for 30 years. So I feel very confident in my skill set as a director. Making a feature film is very different. And you know, as a director in television, you come into an enterprise that's a well-oiled machine, and you work with other craftspeople who are at a very high level of excellence. And you come in, you do your job, you work in the editing room for 4 days, you know, you do your cut, you go away, and the next time you see it, it's on television. And so all of that magic was done by other people, the music and the post and the special effects and all of it. Here, you know, I get to hire everyone. So it becomes like a family. And it's a beautiful process in that my skill set is the same. I bring to it the skill, the confidence that I have as a director, but I get to build a family, and I get
Yeah.
to, and I had the most extraordinary producers as a team who worked alongside me, all of my heads of departments, the casting, and shooting the film with my producers, Alan Stewart and Jyoti Sarda, was just dreamy, just absolutely dreamy. And post-production was dreamy, and the music department was fantastic. And I just had an amazing experience. And yes, I'm craving to do it again and again.
I know, it's like, look what you started.
Yeah,
But like, I love that, you know, Hillary Clinton has seen it and loved
yes,
it.
she
And
came to our premiere.
oh, that's incredible.
Came to our
Do you know
premiere.
if President Obama has seen it?
He has seen it. He has seen it,
Oh,
and he loved it. And I just did an event in Chicago with Tina Chen with the Obama Foundation.
oh,
Um,
wow.
and we're bringing it to DC in June. So yeah.
So good feedback. I mean, yeah, what is the thing that you've been, is there a consistent thing that you've been hearing now that it's been out there for a few weeks now? Well, not even, yeah, just shy, a couple weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks. And the thing that surprised, I just came from a festival tour. So we started a festival tour in October, and we've just finished it as we opened theatrically. And it's an audience pleaser. And it's, you
Yeah.
know, when you
You've
work,
won awards.
not just the awards, you know, to sit in a room of 500 people who are laughing and crying and gasping and cheering, and then giving you a standing ovation and telling you, and you know, they come over to us with tears on their face. It's an emotional experience to watch this movie, and it's a gift for them, and it's a gift for me to see the audience reaction. So it's
No,
really been a love fest.
Dad, what do you think? I love, you know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg obviously was phenomenal, and this was a real touchstone for her and her career. But and the fact that you do use clips, real life clips,
Yeah,
of just of moments in this history.
yeah.
What do you think RBG would have said?
Oh gosh. I don't know.
I know it's hard.
I think she would have loved it. I think she would have been proud. I have to say, as a narrative dramatic filmmaker, it was a little scary for me to put in archival footage in the film, because I'm not a documentarian, and this is not a documentary. This is an entertainment. But I do think the juxtaposition of the dramatic scenes with RBG talking about the very, very same issues that are dramatized is incredibly impactful.
Yeah.
And audiences seem to respond to it very, very well.
Yeah, it's like a teaching film or something. You know, where people are really, again, the awareness of everything involved
Yeah,
in this
because
story.
people don't believe that fair pay is still an issue. It's like, yeah,
Ugh.
look, it's still an issue. It's real. We're not
Yes.
making it
Speaking
up.
of that, where are we? Because her saga, I guess, began in like 93, if I'm correct, or around there. But like, I mean, and even before that, obviously, because of Lily, where she, in her working career. But where are we now with this whole equal pay? Are we 78 cents, or is it 83 cents on the dollar as far
Well,
as?
it depends upon, you know, whether you're speaking to white women or women of color, or, you know, Hispanic women. It's different for different women, but we're nowhere where we should be.
Okay.
And we need to get pay transparency passed. We need to get the ERA passed. And there's a lot of um, policy that needs to be buttoned up and closed in order for these things to happen.
What about you in terms of being a female director in Hollywood? Do you think things have gotten better?
Yeah, you know, it's really wonderful to be sort of a mature person and to see that within the course of my own lifetime, and I've been a vocal activist for other women directors behind the camera. I mean, I've been a big mouth for decades. And I feel
It's
like
like,
my big mouth has helped a little bit, you know. And so in episodic television, when I first came to Hollywood, we were like at 1%. And now we're at like 35 or 40% of the
oh, well,
television that you see directed is directed by women. But in feature films, we're still only at 8%. And it's, you know, and our industry is not in very good shape right now. So we need to focus on moving the industry as a whole into health. So gender is not the focus at the moment, although it should be part and parcel. But we just need to figure out how to get our industry healthy again.
yes, because you are definitely someone who's a proponent of building community.
Yes.
So this is a film very much so doing that. What is it? I don't know if there's one thing, or I'm sure there's many things, but is there one thing that you really hope that people are going to take away now that this film is out there for the masses? What do you want people to take away from your film, Lily?
What Lily would say is to speak to the young women and to
Mhm.
let women know that when they're negotiating for their very first job, that's the time when they need to speak up for themselves and make sure that they're getting a fair salary to start with.
Yeah.
Because how they start is how they're going to continue going. So
It's
I
like
hope
learning that
that's
negotiation
right.
skill. Yeah.
That's right. Because what she would say is that's going to apply to your Social Security and your pension and everything that's going to be for you later on in life. You need to start at the right point. So now that we have transparency and you can ask what other people are earning, I think it's really important for young women to be aware of the whole issue. And I hope from the film side that people pay attention to women directed movies and
Mhm.
go see more and more. You know, when you go see a movie, see who wrote it, see who directed it, see who produced it, and go see movies made by women.
Absolutely. Well, this is fantastic. And I guess one last question. Um, how was Lily? Was she happy about her life before she passed? And how do you think, did she get to see your movie?
Yes, she did get to see the film. She got to see the very same film that you have seen and that everyone will see.
That's great. Yeah.
She'd seen an earlier version. She said, it needs more ballroom dancing. We put back some ballroom dancing for
She
her.
was probably a big Dancing with the Stars fan, maybe. I don't
Yes, and
know.
Patricia Clarkson is a huge fan. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Well, I just have to say a huge thank you for you taking the time to come on board and and tell us all about this because I knew who she was. I just want to make sure that everybody else knows who Lilly Ledbetter and who Rachel Feldman is too.
Thank you. So we're in theaters now, and on June 10th, we'll be on VOD.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So,
Yeah.
well, Rachel, thank you. And for
Yeah.
everybody to find out more about Rachel Feldman and the movie Lily, you can just go to thewomenseye.com. And there you also find our books, little plug, 20 Women Change Makers. Just shop wherever you buy books and at changemakersbook.com. And 20 Women Storytellers. We'll have to get you in here, Rachel, at womensstorytellersbook.com. And don't forget, subscribe to our newsletter and our YouTube channel. Again, thank you and congratulations, Rachel. I'm hoping you're relaxing now.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope so
So,
too. Can
well,
I, can
just
I, can I tell everybody what our website is? It's
absolutely, please do.
www.lilymovie.com. Lily has two L's.
Wonderful. Well, I loved it. And go see Lily in the theaters now. We appreciate you tuning in to the Women's Eye Podcast. I'm Stacey Gualandi. Remember, it's the world as we see it.